Hey, it's Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday, and it is July 24th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And as you can see, we haven't really had a big correction here yet. That's usually indicative of a strong trend. This is a really strong trend, and you can see the real mild pullbacks. This one was a little bigger. This one, and then this one, we're just really going sideways. That could mean we're going much higher. I just don't know. This market's crazy. So anything is possible. Uh, this is just congestion, and we're out of the really overbought conditions. We're still overbought, but not like we were. So the market could push higher again. So we'll just have to see what happens. But this is a strong trend. So just today was mostly a range day, although we did close near the highs, so it looks like a bullish bar, even though you can see we're really still going sideways. I'd want to see this push up before I think we were going higher at this point. But there's a very good chance we could be going higher. Maybe, I mean, this was some strong buying, so it may take the momentum a little bit to slow down, especially on a daily chart. So we could still sell off here, but it really looks like we could go higher just as easy. So um, just keep that in mind. This market could go in either direction or could just continue to work sideways for a little bit. But this is indicative of not a lot of selling, hard selling coming in, and still buying going on. So just be aware of that and keep that in the back of your head. Don't make your trading decisions based on it, but just keep that in the back of your head. So we're still in an uptrend here. Let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart and go through those trades, and we'll go from. And here's today's chart, and you can see the blue range here. We broke outside of it up here. You probably should have adjusted it up. I didn't change it. I just left it where I had it early this morning. It didn't make much difference. These were all failed breakouts, and we got back in the range. So it probably wouldn't have hurt if you had adjusted it up to these. We got a few more touches across there, but you can see the regular range came back into play, and I think we touched it here. Yep, here and here late in the afternoon. And of course they're mowing the grass out there, so I hope it's not too bad in the background. Just have to apologize if it is. But let's zoom in here, go through the trades. There was a couple of high volatility news items at 8:45, so I blocked out this little point right here. But other than that, it was pretty much wide open for the trading. 7 o'clock came is just as we were making this move down right here. And so we did have a break and a new low already. So you possibly could have gone long there. If there was enough room to the EMA, I'd say maybe, but I'd like to see prices either make a higher low or get back above that EMA. And we get a failure right there. That's a perfect setup to go long on. That big bearish bar is going to trap the shorts right there. So when it broke one tick below and turned up, if it breaks above that bar, go with it. That's a nice trap, a nice reversal. That's a continuation pattern. It's not really a reversal. It's what I'd call a continuation pattern of the trend. We're looking to make a new high here after the break anyway. And so there it is. I mean, this is a pretty much all night trend. So you'd expect a retest of the high. And this thing runs on up pretty high. You get two legs back. I didn't like this one. We do have a break and new low, but we've already had the break of the green and a new high. And we closed below the EMA. You could probably take that. Um, you could mark that green. I didn't mark it. I think you're better off waiting, but you might take that trade. And of course, we run up to a new high. I guess you could almost treat this like a new trend because it went on so far. So if you draw the new trend, I'd say draw it from there, like so. It tends to fit right there. Normally, I don't draw it on the retest unless it just keeps going and turns into a new trend, and that almost did. And so once you got a break, you might expect a new high here, and that might be another reason to take that trade if you saw it that way, if you read it that way, which is the proper way to read it most likely. And then of course once we made that new high, we turned straight down. You can see we got a lower high here, but not a good setup. It's still above the EMA. Then finally, there's a hidden second entry here that confirms that trend line. I didn't mark it. It's another one. If you're a more advanced trader, maybe you take that one. But if you wait a few minutes later, you get a sure second entry right here with plenty of room to scalp out, and that turns into a pretty good trade. You might have got a runner on that one. Runs down, and I didn't draw this trend, this shorter term trend here, but there is one. You can see the channel coming up. We get a break and a couple of legs up. You never really get a setup here. We're congested by the time you get a triple test. If you took that triple test, it would have worked. I didn't like it because of the congestion, but I didn't mean to mark it in red, but maybe you mark that green. And then we actually tested it a couple more times, but definitely don't go short right in here. And then you get the failed breakout. Very nice signal bar, gets you in right at the low of the range. I like that one. High or low here, chance to scalp out, plenty of room. That's the sure one to take. But on these failed breakouts, these are, I love to trade these. A lot of times these will end up being important low. Here you didn't get the runner on the failed breakout, but take the higher low and you probably would have got a runner, and you see it turns out to be an important low. You probably wouldn't want to hang around through this, so this probably you would have probably checked out somewhere up here. But that's still a really nice move if you catch a runner on it. You can see that's 6-7 points easy on that trade. And then we just went in this range. There's a failed break here. There's a lower high. It looks a little congested, but that's okay because it's a double top. I didn't mark it, but it's another one you could probably take. The bias here is up, so I'm a little leery about going short. There's plenty of room back to the EMA in the midline, so maybe you take that one on the lower high right there. And it is a second entry short, even though we're not looking for second entries in a tight range like that. We come on down here, we continue to test. I wasn't crazy about this one because it's right into the EMA. This one closes on the other side. I liked it. Again, we close here, and we've been running back and forth, so I like going long. The bias is still long, and you can see we've been continued to hold it down here each time. So I like that one. This one's close to being green because there's not a lot of room back to that midline, but after we push through a few times like that and gone back and forth, you're probably safe to go ahead and take it. The odds increase a lot by that time. So, and of course we break out here. This looks too congested. It bounces again, high or low, but everything's right into the midline, right into the EMA. I didn't continue to drag this over, but there it is. So I wasn't crazy about going long here. I didn't think it was worth pushing. We break out, you run up here, and you get a close outside, and you tried to go higher actually three times, but you get a double test there. It's really a triple test. Relatively small bar. It's only like 4 ticks. I didn't like this one because this inside bar, but it's still real low. It's another one you could argue to be green because of the triple test, but the reason I didn't mark it was because you got this little inside bar. Of course, it's only 3 ticks, but you still might take that trade when it breaks lower and risk it on 4 ticks, because a triple test that far away from the EMA on a failed breakout, there's a good chance you're at least coming back to the EMA and maybe run all the way to the other side of the range. So these are the kind you might want to take. It's a little congested though too, so but we're so far away from the EMA, you got to realize you're running into a lot of resistance there. And then you try to go higher once, twice, and so this is a failure right here. I think this broke higher right here. No, it actually did. I thought it broke higher right there. I still like that. If it breaks below that bar, treating it like because it's a little 2-bar matching high, so I still like it like a failure. You might make it green, but when it broke below this bar is really when it became, actually no, when it made the double top and broke below this bar. I'm sorry. So that's correct. So your failure would have been 1 tick below this. It continues to go lower, but I just don't see anything else there I like. And then you get a lower shoot, high or low, and then you get a failed second entry, but it's below the EMA. So can't take that. Runs up here, and you're still running up. You get a break. So you don't want to go long up here, and you don't really want to go short yet until you finally get a lower high right here and a nice signal bar. I like going short right there. Notice the break, new high, and then you get the lower high. And this thing just wouldn't quit. It just kept trying to work higher. Again, I don't see anything that you can go long with here, so you're just looking for maybe a short setup. And again, I didn't mark this one. There's too much support right across there. and the reversal's here, and so it's on the wrong side, and so there's just no way to go short right there. You might say, hey, that's a trap, but I wouldn't want to go short right into that support. It turns out to be a good trade, but of course you don't know that ahead of time. And then of course you get a break. You actually had a break here, and then another little move lower before it took off higher. And of course you get a break. You try to go long once, and then twice. So if it breaks below that, it's a failure after a failed breakout and back into the range. And so I like to take that short just to ride it on down and see. You might, again, you might catch the failure, and this thing might go all the way to the other side. Doesn't do that, but again, you get, if you caught a runner, you get six or so points there. Excuse me, and then that takes you into 230. So, but anyway, that's how I saw it. It's really just a range day, and we really got in a tighter range up here. You might have just drawn you wouldn't have been necessarily wrong if you just drew a tighter range up here, like so. I would have drawn it like this if I did. And you can see the failed breakout here and the failed breakout down here, and we're right back in the range. And we did close inside the range for the day. So not a lot of volume today, a lot of mixed trading. Still a few trades here though, but you got to trade range rules. They're really not that hard. It takes a while to get the gist of it and to get a feel for it. But once you do that, it's really not that hard when it's consistent. This is a really consistent range here. Every time it touched the lows, it went higher, and every time it touched the highs or broke out, it went lower until finally pushed on through. So that's a consistent range. And a lot of the turn downs were consistent off the upper side of the larger range. They're failed breakouts or whatever, or they're back in. So that really makes a difference. That makes it a little easier. So it's when it's up here and down, all the way down here, and then halfway up and further down, and then way up here and then back here, and it doesn't turn at the same places consistently. Those are hard ranges to trade, and you need to be real careful in them. But when they get real consistent like this, try to take advantage of them. So anyway, I'm not going to beat around the bush today. It's Monday. I got a lot of emails to catch up on and so forth. So I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.